Welcome to VEDA Day 28. We're in the home stretch. I know I missed yesterday, but I was not feeling well. So 3 more days, I think I can do 3 more videos. At the request of Twitter, I'm going to talk about a few more books that I have to recommend today. And these books are about vocal technique and the voice. The first book is Dynamics of the Singing Voice by Maribeth Bunch Dame. This was a book that I found a really long time ago. It's actually a textbook on the voice. So there's all kinds of diagrams of the vocal instrument and lots of excellent information in here. This edition that I have is the 5th edition. I don't actually know if there have been more editions since then, but I love it because it very clearly explains the physical mechanics of the voice. There's a few chapters on vocal pedagogy at the beginning, which I also found super instructive. But then just everything you need to know, from posture to anatomy. Yeah, there's some more anatomical drawings. Everything on the medical side of the voice. I almost always refer to this book when I'm trying to explain how the process of singing works to a student who's never seen that before. I keep this book on hand constantly. So this is something I highly, highly recommend, although it is kind of expensive. The second book I have to recommend is The Art of Singing by Richard Miller. This is a book that I haven't completely finished reading, but I don't think it's meant to be read from cover to cover because it's basically a series of essays on vocal pedagogy, vocal health, a lot like the last book, but a little more in depth in terms of genre. So there's things about specific types of singing, but also things you would never think about. Richard Miller goes into like extreme detail. One of my favorite chapters in this book is on preparation for professional life, and there's a whole bunch of essays about how to succeed as a professional musician. So one of my favorites is How to Really Bomb a Masterclass, and he basically writes an entire sarcastic essay about how to do poorly in a masterclass, and some of the instructions are regardless of what your teacher may have advised, wear sneakers, jeans, and a sloppy sweater. Before you begin to sing, mention all of the shows you have been in and the contests you have won. Don't warm up. Stuff like that. It's just pure sass, and I love it. He also goes and debunks a bunch of myths about singing. So stuff like singing from your diaphragm and supporting the voice and all these kinds of things. He really goes into detail and explains physiologically what's happening and what should be happening. There's a lot of definitional essays, so singing easily versus singing lazily, relaxing and singing. It's so detailed, and it's really my Bible. I always refer to this book as well. Actually, all of these books today, I refer to them quite a bit when I'm teaching. So that's The Art of Singing by Richard Miller. It's a great book. And this author actually has lots of great books that I haven't read yet, and so I will probably talk about those in the future. And the last book that I have today is The Right to Speak, Working with the Voice by Patsy Rodenberg. I found this book because it is required reading at the Randolph Academy in Toronto, and I have a really good friend who goes there. I saw it in her apartment, and I stole it for a little while until I finally got my own copy. This book is broken up into 2 sections. The first half of the book is The Right to Speak, and I love this half of the book. It really talks about all the sociological reasons why a voice might be the way it is. Things like gender and class and race and growth habits and being a teenager versus being an adult, being a middle child versus being the oldest child. There's all these things that we carry in our voice as people. And it was really, really enlightening to read these essays. I really love this book as a teacher because a lot of my students come to me with deeply ingrained personal habits that are infused in their voice. And it's up to me to determine what is going to be the course of action to give them the healthiest voice possible. And this was just really enlightening. The second half of the book I was a little bit less into, but I can see how it would be really instructive for some people, and it was working with the voice. So the entire second half of this book is basically an owner's manual of the voice, and there's a really huge long vocal warm-up. I didn't like this warm-up only because I found it a little too intense for me personally, and it gave my back some problems, so I wasn't able to do it completely. But there's a lot of really great things about phonetics and vowels and relaxing very specific muscle groups to give yourself the easiest voice possible. So it didn't work for me, but I really think that this is a valuable book for anybody. So those are the top 3 vocal books that I recommend. I use these books all the time, constantly, especially while I'm teaching. Just to recap, those are The Dynamics of the Singing Voice by Maribeth Bunch-Dame, On the Art of Singing by Richard Miller, and The Right to Speak, Working with the Voice by Patsy Rodenberg. If you like these book recommendations, please like and subscribe, and I'll do more things like this in the future. Leave me your comments below. I'd love to know what books you use when trying to learn about singing and the voice. That is all for today. I've been Renee, and I'll see you next time. Bye!